So, hello everybody. This is the first episode of the Drone Pioneers podcast. People do the flying, and this is a podcast centered around not only the drone industry but the people that actually put their creativity and they are doing something special and they are moving forward with the drones. I'm very thrilled to have Mr. Tom Palmaers as the first guest on the show. Hello, Mr. Palmaers.
Hello, nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Mr. Palmaers is a professional photographer, photojournalist. He has been involved in various documentaries and he has been in various war zones. He will tell us more about it forward. And now he's also a volunteer firefighter and a drone operator. And he's doing some very nice and very intricate modifications to DJI's Avata, their take on FPV. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff during today's VODCAST. So, hello, Tom.
Hello. Hello, greetings from Belgium.
Greetings from Greece. Before we go to the drones, you have been a photographer and photojournalist for how many years now?
Oh, I started my photography business in 2008. And before that, I did already weddings, but not official, of course. I didn't got the company yet. Weddings, festivals, nightlife, all that kind of stuff, commercial stuff.
Have you studied photography or you just got into it because you liked it? How did it happen?
It happened at an early age. I started working in a farm when I was like 10 years old. A lot of times in the field, I got more engaged with nature, birds. I got interested in it. I started buying the binoculars to look to birds when I was in the field and everything, and then more and more into nature, involved into nature, bird watching especially. Then I got my first camera when I was 12 or 13 years old. Started making pictures because I saw like sometimes rare species in the forest or in the field, and I had no proof that I saw them. So not always they believe me. So I need a photo camera. So that's my photography journey started when I was about 13 years old. Then when I was 15 years old, I started working in the bar. My father, he was like a security in the bar, nightlife, just as a hobby also after his real work. And they need somebody in the to work behind the bar desk, filling the fridge and everything. And I said, yeah, let's try this. Then I started doing this when I was 15, and I did it like 12 years in the same bar, nightlife. And yeah, sometimes they're doing some fights in the bar, outside the bar. But inside the bar, they had no cameras, no security cameras.
Okay.
I don't know why. They were lazy or don't want to spend money on that. And there was one big one, and yeah, it was a problem. There was not proof who was all involved and everything, and also police asking from cameras. And I said, I have a photo camera, was still with a film roll. I can take it with me every weekend, every Friday and Saturday. And if there's a fight, I pick up and I do making pictures with a flash. It was not a big bar, like 400 people can go in there, and it was like 360 bar. And yeah, that's how that started. Start fighting, making pictures of it. The Monday I go to the Photoshop. They had to develop the film roll, and then I had to call my bosses. Said, hey, look here, the pictures are ready, and you can see who was involved in the fighting. And then they couldn't exclude people the next time from, no, you cannot enter anymore because you were involved in the fight and everything. But because of my pictures, I made proof, what's happening. We could solve things. And that translated to outdoor fights. Even then the police came and they knew already, Tom, did you make pictures by accident? So, yeah, I have pictures. Here's the proof. Somebody with a knife, still the knife in the hands. I could make pictures of it. He threw it away. And when the police came, he had not my knife, but I had the pictures.
Another time you have told me that one of the things that kicked you, one of the things that was for you was being there before the police. You liked in your photojournalism to be there before the police. Was there ever a problem with the police? Was there ever, or the cooperation was always good?
No, it was always good. You always have one or two agents. They didn't like it, but overall, I never had problems.
Yeah,
They
there's
knew that
always somebody who doesn't like
I
everywhere.
follow. Yeah, you have always a good cop, bad cop in the department. And I also had. I was also then with the firefighters together and working for the press. It's legal, but I have to strictly separate everything. So I cannot make pictures when I'm a firefighter and send it to the newspaper. That's
Okay.
what's not
So
allowed.
there are some regulations, some legalities, and you abide by them, and
Yeah,
that's it. Okay.
yeah.
And how did you get from photojournalism to go abroad, to go overseas? We have discussed that you've been in war zones. Can you name a few of the places you've been?
Yeah, the once there was Mali. I went twice when it started there, and Syria. Syria, I went. I tried to get in once and didn't got in because of my colleague journalist. She was not able to get out, and I needed her to get in because she had the connections. And then I did a second attempt 2 weeks later, and then I got in to Aleppo. It was not really making a story from the front line from soldiers, but life around the front line, especially with women who lost their men
Okay.
and sometimes also their houses, and they had to live in cages. And then can we make a story of this? It was more like that, but it was just still dangerous things. But I learned a lot of things, also how it works internationally, what wars involve, what you see at home in the news, and when you're there, it's totally different.
Okay. And these
Um,
experiences of yours, they are depicted on your documentaries?
yeah,
Okay.
I pick up.
Where can one find your documentaries? Where they
I
are
have
accessible?
I have some one of Vimeo. I have some documentaries. Yeah, I probably only at Vimeo, and then for the newspapers, I did this. Of course, it's nice to do, but you don't get. It's not for a living. You cannot live from this. So for me, it's more interesting when I come back and understand more people like from the Muslim community. I can understand them better because I've been there.
Their mentality, their
I think
worldview.
yeah, your mind is broader now. You have more things about culture, how things work. Not always think that what you hear is always true.
Any
It's
specific
not.
stories you would like to share? Any specific instances that change the way that you view the world, or anything special?
Mostly in daily life, if something happens, people get emotions because like their boyfriend, he stopped a relationship, or somebody died in the family from disease or cancer. For me, it's directly from okay, that's life. I've seen in war, people are getting killed just right away without anything preparations for saying goodbye for death or anything, and that keeps me sometimes emotional without emotion of emotionalness. I don't know the English word of it,
Yes, yes, yes. Did
because
you?
I've seen worse things. I know there are worse things than that what's happening now, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's not easy for also for my wife. I'm like, yeah, it's sad, but that's life. And I don't know the English word for this, but all the time you
So when
see
you
your
have seen, when you have seen real violence on real or really sad situations, you are able to be more detached
yeah.
in our everyday trivial problems.
Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. But I think most of my colleagues they have the same.
Yes.
Um, and also, if you hear things, oh, he did this, and oh, that's so bad, and oh, he murdered, or there was a big murder case here in Belgium just ended a few days ago. A lot of people are saying, yeah, it's unbelievable. Why? But I'm always, yeah, but there's always a reason why they became like this. You have to go more to the history or to the childhood and everything, and that I'm more aware of this. Don't just too much or too easy people. There's always a case or something that happened earlier. There are a lot of people working with it, walking around with a trauma, and their behavior is something reflects this. And that is what I learned when I'm going abroad. Things, a lot of story, but also for newspaper, doing stories, sad stories from people, and you are there on the interview, making pictures during the interview, but you listen and you pick up stuff and you learn from it.
Okay. So from photojournalism, how did you progress to drone flying and drone photography?
Well, actually, I was totally not interested in drones, but think it's now about 10 years ago, there was Ford, the company Ford here near my city. They made here the Ford Mondeo and the Ford Transit. They closed the factory. And yeah, there were a lot of people affected, about 6,000 people.
Okay.
Lost their jobs. And then I made a separate documentary about that. And I needed some, I think okay, it would be nice to have some aerial shots from the factory. And I knew a friend was doing this. He had a drone, and I asked him, can you make some video photos? I said, yeah, no problem. Do it for free. And it was kind of the Phantom, one of the first Phantoms.
Yeah, back then everything was just starting. Yes.
Yeah. And he go up in the air, and about 10 minutes, he got emergency and had an emergency landing. There's something wrong with the battery. He landed on the road, on the big road, and it's luckily cars could see it because it was almost dark, and the lights thing, so the cars all could avoid the drone. And I said, oh my God, what's this? Oh, I'm totally not interested. So 10 years later, now about 2 years ago, I got colleagues from the newspaper, photographers. They got their license, but it was before the European law. And then
the EASA licensing, yes.
Yeah, it was very expensive to get this license, and the law was totally different. Still, I was not interested in it because it was so expensive, and maybe you could fly maybe once a week or two, because when the newspaper, they didn't ask all the time for this. So commercial wise, was not interested for me. Then came the European law. Everything was more clear,
affordable,
easy to get, free to get, and everything. And my colleagues, they already were flying, so they had already some more better assignments for the newspaper. Then I was thinking, I think it's time to also buy one, because commercial wise, and to earn some more things and to upgrade my gear. It should be interesting, because actually it's just a flying camera. And the drone. But still, it was like, if everybody now is doing this, I want to do something different.
Okay.
So I'm still looking what's still possible, what else is in the drone world. And then I came into FPV, and I saw those movie. He's called Macintosh, the guy on YouTube. He made the first really tiny FPVs flowing into shops through the clothes and everything, and very small things. And I said, whoa, that's something I want to do. And that's my journey started in the FPV. So in October 2001, just 2 years ago,
okay,
I bought my first FPV small package, 350 euros. You know, from Emacs, you take it out, of course, you put it on your kitchen table.
yes.
You want to fire this thing on as fast as possible, put it on your throttle, and boom, in
it
2
crashes
seconds,
somewhere, and
in all pieces,
yes.
350 euros in all pieces. I said, oh my God, yes, troubles again.
Well, the thing is that you always start with something cheap. So even if it breaks, it's not going to be such an economic.
Yeah, it's still 350 euros. And
yes.
I had to buy a new package, because the glasses and the controller, I could not find a drone Emacs alone that time, 2 years ago. So I thought, okay, I have to find something else to learn. Is there no simulation? And of course, Googling again, and I found Liftoff, Veloci drone. There were the two of them. Yeah, what I found.
Now there are plenty of applications for simulation if anyone is looking around.
Yeah. So I tried this, and I started practicing with it. I bought my first Crossfire controller, the small one, the TBS Crossfire, to connect on the computer to try to fly on the sim. And many hours, I think 24 hours practicing. Then bought again the 350 euros package, and again started up, and I started hovering and flying a bit around, a little bit crashing, of course. Again, sim. And then like 2 weeks later, going outside, let's get the thing in the air. Get it in the air, and boom,
it went somewhere.
Because of the wind, of course.
Yeah.
And I lost it. Half a year later, I got it back. My neighbor found it in his garden. So that was a hard learn lesson. and that's how I start digging. Why this? Why that?
Well, pretty much.
I lost frequency.
Pretty much for every one of us, the first steps are always the most difficult because mishaps will happen,
Yeah,
accidents will happen.
but what is the biggest problem for us, especially the man, the pilots are, we don't read the manual.
Yeah. So
Read the
advice,
fucking
read the
manual.
manual. Yes, don't
It's
just
all
open the
about the
box and read.
manual. Yeah. So I start learning and reading and take time of reading manual, and not only once, twice, but 3 times.
Well, now, by now, it's not only the manuals. There are plenty of people on YouTube that you can
Yeah, sure.
look up for advice or stuff like that. Yes,
Yeah. For the tricks and the tips, I go on YouTube. Yeah.
yes.
And that's how I spread my own tips and tricks.
So now, when I first saw your stuff and what you're doing with DJI Avata, I was impressed because many of my friends, many people that I know that are flying FPV, didn't really like DJI Avata. They didn't really. Some of them didn't even consider it FPV.
Yeah, same for me. I was
Okay.
not interested. Yeah.
So how did you come, from not liking it to now being, the main tool you're using?
Well, during my lessons or my education for being a state operator here in Belgium is it's a fire department and police school. We got managed, or we were able to fly the DJI FPV, the first version of the FPV. I flew with it. I said, "Oh no, I cannot fly with it because of the camera gimbal, and it was not that fixed and too much sensors. You feel it when you want to do a roll or anything, or a sharp yaw. It's totally different experience than you're doing it with a Cinewhoop or with your freestyle drone. There's a lot of delay on your sticks. Just compare with those ones that I tuned them myself, of course,
Yes,
with my
the ones you tune yourself, yeah.
yeah. So I think that's crap. And then came the Avata, and I saw the same things. There's a lot of sensors. I tried it once, and I said, no, it's crap. It's not FPV. It's not a real FPV. The motion is not the same. No, you cannot do what you want with it. But I was already in some Facebook groups, public safety UOS groups, especially a lot of American police officers and first responders are in there discussing things. And I saw them being very enthusiastic about the Avata, using it for clearance a house.
Room
So
clearance and stuff like that.
yeah. And then I was thinking too, for this and also for firefighters, you can go inside, everybody can fly because it's so easy to fly because of the sensors. You can hover and doing some clearance. You have a camera going up and down. You can just yaw around and it stays in place. So then I was thinking, okay, it's a nice tool for this, not for us as freestyle FPV flyers, just for fun or anything, or even for doing some cinematic shoots. It can do some stuff, but you need a lot of light or sunlight because the camera is not good in low light. So my mind's changing and saying, okay, that's a really good tool and it's quite cheap. Then I saw that they are looking that they were using a lot of tactical drone, and it was the Loki, made in Belgium. I didn't know that. So wow, it's a tactical drone, world famous in special forces, or special forces, not for SWAT teams and everything, even here in Belgium. Let's see how this looks like. And I found the manual of it, and I found it online, the manual, and looking to it. Okay, it can do infrared. It has those floor mode. It can fly under the bed or under a car. Very, very nice to do. You can do it with a Cinewhoop, but of course it's not easy to fly with it. And that's what we were missing at the Avata. Avata strong points were connection and penetration through walls, and that's what they found negative about the Loki. What in the Facebook group, penetration force was not that good, and you cannot output your image. So I bought one Avata just to tear down and try to fix the problems. So from my photography world and knowledge, I knew that people are photographing the planets and stuff in space. They use Sony cameras because the sensors is very sensitive in low light, and to get more spectrum, lighter spectrum to photograph, they try to tear down the IR cut filter, so you have more light coming hitting the sensor to have better, broader depth of, not depth of field, image quality, more details about space. And with that in mind, I knew that every digital camera has this filter.
Okay.
It's very near the main sensor, and say let's try to get it out. And that was the journey of my Avata IR, and it took like 1 month to get everything finished. Of course, I broke a lot of sensors. I was to try to find the technique to do this, and yeah, I managed it and put some infrared lights on there. I found ones from Fox Ferry in the US. They're very light because I always need to see if you add something, of course, your flight time will affect it. So that's
Battery
what I
life, yeah, everything is
yeah,
heavy.
there's always, but my cine moves is the same. Putting some screws out or anything, tear down or making naked Cadex Vista or naked O3 units to lose weight. So I always keep this in mind. And yeah, I just managed to do it. But not only the main camera, also the vision sensors, because if you want to be in stealth mode, the avatar that you don't see it in the dark, your vision sensors also need to have light to have positioning hold. I managed to do that too and put their infrared lights. So then I made a video with Loki on the left side and Avata on the right side.
Yeah.
I did just for fun and said from, okay, Loki has this, Avata has this too, and then everything the same. The turtle mode, infrared, flying under the car, flying under the bed.
And I have seen that you have removed the GPS, you have removed the altimeter.
Yeah, but that was afterwards.
Okay.
First was the infrared, and even the altitude meter at that time I didn't know about it, but I tried to find a technique to fly under my bed, so take up down, and I managed a few times to, I don't know, don't tell me how I did it, but and that's just for that little movie or video, and I sent it to one of my mentors and teachers from the drone school, firefighting. I said, look what I've done. And he said, wow, that's really cool. Can I publish it on my LinkedIn page? So yeah. I didn't have LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you can publish, no problem. And half an hour later, he sent back a screenshot from, look, the people from Sky Hero, they already react on it, and they say something. They compare it with cars, something with a Ferrari with an Alfa Romeo or something. Something I didn't know the real words. And I was like, oh man, those guys are on LinkedIn. So I have to make an account on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is the best tool. By far
Yes,
the best social.
in July, I started to make an account and I put the same video on it, and my journey on LinkedIn started. I just came in LinkedIn with my ideas, and since then it's exploded. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so how much time does it take for you to take a normal DJI avatar and turn it full tactical, infrared, all the stuff?
Yeah, the full conversion, it took me almost like a working hour, like 7 to 8 hours.
Okay.
But still, because my problem is also I cannot stay there hours on the same thing. My mind or my
Okay.
brain, they cannot handle it. So I have to do also something else between, or I go something to do for the newspaper or anything else, and then I come like 1 hour, 2 hours back and start continuing again. But the thing is, it's very concentrating work. You have to do with your it's over there, with the microscope,
Okay.
special nice, with the heating gun, and all those kind of tiny things. I've never
So
worked
you
with it.
need you need the you need no you need not only the skills but also the tools.
Yeah, the tools are very important. Yeah, without the tools, I'm nothing. Also, what kind of glue I have to take. the tiny pin sets, things to cut the glass,
Okay.
the filters, and all that kind of things. And that was a whole journey to buy things, and of course, many things you cannot find here in Europe or even the US. That's all have to find in China.
In China.
That's
So by now you have done the journey. You know, you have seen what works and what doesn't work.
yeah.
So if you want to make a list of the tools you need, and of the tools you will need, and of the equipment you will need, by now you have figured this out.
But now everything is figured out. The only thing is it doesn't work all the time. There's always something that can happen, that some glass piece falls into your sensor.
Okay.
And I found something to air vacuum, like a vacuum cleaner things.
Okay.
Reduce the risk. Now I just got it last week. But I got a lot of companies now asking me how I did it. But a lot of people said, don't tell to everybody, because then they're going with your idea. So I'm now,
Yes.
and now I'm doing a collaboration with Profworks.
Okay.
And they are now testing out the Avata. It will now test out this week with special forces to see how everything goes. If we put also new lights on there. And if they are happy with it and they see that that's really something they can use, and if they can use it and it's approved, you have quality.
Okay.
I start
So far,
collaborating
who is
together
using
with,
it? So far, who
yeah,
is using it?
only me.
Only you.
There are
Okay.
only two versions.
Okay.
I just got the one ready for Profworks for special forces. But actually, it's the same.
It's a
Loki has
prototype.
it. Loki has it also, and Brink has also infrared. They have it, but it's of course the cost. That's what
So what
I
is
got a lot of
what is the
attention.
cost? What is the cost for buying a DJI Avatar and doing all the modifications?
Yeah, you have to. Avata was 560 euros. I have to speak in euros.
Yeah. Okay.
Then yeah, I bought a lot of spare parts because I first want to try with spare parts and not taking
Okay.
off already this sensor. Yeah, what does, and then it's just your hours and the clear glass filters. So actually, it's not, the hardware is very cheap, but it's the working hours. If you do really the working hours, for me as a commercial one, I'm a freelancer and I have to make an invoice. Yeah, it's sometimes, if you ask the real one, it's 100 euros for 1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah, the same if you go to repair your car, is about 1 hour, 100 euros per hour. They are working on your car, and actually
But
it's
if
just,
anyone, if anyone orders from you, you are open to the idea of building one for somebody.
yeah, but still, I was thinking about this too, but I'm still not. It's not 100% waterproof. I said that it's that I succeed the first time I started.
Okay. Well,
So
it's not about selling anything or just promoting a stuff, but
at
you're doing
first for me it was prototyping work, but now I'm collaborating with Profworks.
okay.
Uh, they we will I will teach a team of those guys who like to do this,
Okay.
and they start making batches. But it's future work. But it's possible next year Avata comes with the solution all in one.
Right. That's what I
It's
wanted to ask you next.
possible.
If people from DJI are listening, or they were
They are
going,
listening. Yeah, they are listening. I know it for sure now. I
so
got
if
communications. Yeah.
yes, if people from DJI are listening to you now, or they will come to talk to you, and they were going to ask you next year, we're going to have DJI Avatar 2 or the next FPV drone DJI, whatever. What would you suggest them? What would you ask from them? What would you ask as a user?
Yeah, including those infrared. It's like the same when I was in San Diego at IDES 23. DJI was there, the representative from the US, and a lot of people asking them, yeah, what Tom did. why they don't already include it or for the next version. So I know a lot of people in the field, SWAT teams, police, already ask to DJI representatives from of salesperson, please add infrared and maybe more thermal vision, thermal camera, small thermal camera. Like Brink has it. I don't know, other ones, indoor drones have it. I only think Brink or Extend maybe also. I'm not sure, but there are just not much drones. They have thermal ones, so that would be. But then with thermal, it's nice, but it needs to be a wide angle thermal. I just got one now for testing, also to put on Avata, just for prototyping. It needs to be wide angle because you're in a room. Same for us as firefighters. It's a problem with those thermal imaging cameras we have at the fire department. It's very narrow.
Very narrow
field. So if you're in a house, you all the time have to go over around, and it's not. And I know it exists, and I also said to the firefighters, wide, but of course, cost price.
Yes, as a firefighter, what are the limitations when it comes to high temperatures? So how effective is this DJI Avata going to be when you have to do, you know, something in high temperatures and stuff like that? What are the limitations?
Yeah, to use the drone for indoor at high temperature, I don't see yet what we can do about this. It's mostly afterwards, after the fire.
Okay.
It's still gonna be like I know the English word. There's still some heat on the floor.
Residential heat, yes.
Yeah, and of course but your propellers are actually doing some cooling for the drone. So I think you don't need to be much more things adding on an Avata to fly over after burn things when the burns. But it's more like the camera.
Okay.
Like the Cadex Polar, it's very good in low lights, so a more sensitive camera. It was good now during daylight. 4K, we don't need 4K.
Yeah.
Why is 4K for firefighter netting? No, we don't need it because there's more processing power. Processing power is more current draw. It's more heat. If you just do it in HD, I'm always look at high bitrate. The more high bitrate you have, the more quality on your pixel base you have. Pixel base, not, it's like colors. You have more detail with bitrates. So even 1080 or 720 camera, low light, so you don't produce much heat, because a lot of people want to use the Avata also for perching, to have a standby, but after 7-8 minutes it shuts down because of the heat, or adding a fan, kind of a fan for cooling, to cooling your VTX. It's heat is also how you say it, heat is always bad for anything what is electronics, not only
So
drone.
far with the modifications you have made, what is the maximum flight time for your DJI Avata?
I haven't tested.
Okay.
I think also about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Without something, it's about 15 minutes. And I think with now with the IR thing, it was between 10 and 12 minutes, I think.
Okay.
But I actually really didn't do a stopwatch because I'm always flying and having fun and actually not doing those things. And now with the thermal camera, I hope within 2 weeks this is ready, because some friend is making a mount to mount it on the, they can 3D mount it on the Avata and see how that flight time will be. Yeah, just having fun.
Yes, yes. It always starts with having fun.
And also try to inspire people. From,
Yes.
okay, this is possible, or this, not only about the Avata, but also about like wide angle. Why nobody talks about wide angle thermal camera? They just talk about thermal camera, but not wide angle for indoors. Wide angle. So you enter a room and you see everything, the whole room in without yawing, to see with the thermal camera if there's some heat thing. No, just you go enter once and you see everything in one image thermal. It exists, but nobody talks about it. I don't see people talking about it because there's not that much technical knowledge from just a normal operator. Of course, they like to fly, but I like to dig deeper. What's in there?
So you were saying that you see that many people, many users don't have the technical knowledge.
No, yeah, a very deep technical knowledge. For example, about the camera, even camera settings, shutters. What's the relationship between the shutter speed, your ISO, your diaphragm, and those things? That's very technical. But you can do things if you know that one, for example. You can do great stuff. For instance, if you put your Avata into manual mode for the camera manual mode, and you put your shutter speed to 130, the lowest you can get, the frame rate to 160 frames a second, and your ISO to the maximum was 25,600. You can have more light entering your Avata, especially when you have your lights on. Only disadvantage is, of course, higher ISO, you get more noise.
More noisy, yeah.
For big rooms, it really helps to have better view with if you have your LED lights or infrared lights. The only downside is if you're coming into a closed space or near a wall, everything gets blown out because it's not automatically going compensate your lighting. But those tips I have to say a lot of times to people, even people doing inspections with the drone, with Avata, internal inspection, say you can expand your camera settings to have more light entering, and they did it, and they really thanked me for this, telling them. It's just photography.
Okay, so yeah, you are a professional photographer, so
Yeah.
you understand some things that people who don't know about photography,
Yeah,
don't.
and that's not really saying in the manual. That's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing you can find in the manual. What's the shutter speed and what's what you can do with it and everything.
Yes, yes. So one of the things, and I would like your opinion about that, one of the things that I have been saying to other people getting involved in the drone industry. Okay, at the moment, we're still in the first stages of the drone industry. Still, it's the Wild West. There are some rules, there are some legislation, but we are not yet to the point that everything is charted out, everything is regulated. Now, so still it is open for many people to get involved and do their thing. But I think that at some point, it will not be enough for a guy to be an operator. At some point, the guy will have an operator plus something else, an operator and a technical guy like yourself, an operator and a businessman, an operator and something that will make him stand out and be more valuable. What do you think about it? What suggestions or advice you would like to give about that?
Yeah, education or reading things. It's very important. Like you said, regulations. There's not much control about it. Let's say your RF signal, how you can boost it. It's there. You just have to go into manual, and sometimes you can boost it, or of course nobody will notice. But of course, everything comes above when something happens.
Okay.
And for now, I'm still surprised. Not much things happened yet. Same for us with the firefighters and police departments with our M300 or M30 crashing. For now, it's we don't had real crashings or anything, or where other people, civilians, got involved. But someday it will happen, and then we will see more and more. When the investigation started, then things coming up, and same for us. Normally, probably we should use a parachute on your M300, even if we are state operators. We don't do it because we don't see it in regulations yet. Especially us as state operators, we have a special not rules. It's something special on paper, being a state operator. But yeah, it should something happens, and they said, yeah, we normally had to be a parachute. Yeah, but or law or special thing what they said about state operators, it doesn't matter. It's global, it's safety parachute, because it's a big thing. If it crashes down, you can kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something. It's something. Yeah. We also ask here in Belgium. It's still going on, but probably we think we're not gonna manage to have it. To have the FCC mode that we can use it as state operator, because there's a big problem with our CE problem with those 25 millimeter with our image when you fly, especially in an urban thing is environment. It's not a problem, but once you are in the city, it's horrible for us to fly with to have a good image transmission.
Okay.
It's more that kind of thing. Law is something very technical things. Yeah, we have to do more education together or united together. Police operators and firefighter operators come together, having a nice day together, a drone day. Not only
Yeah,
police with anything.
so far everybody does, most things happen because somebody does something by himself. There is no,
Yeah.
there is no
And sharing
correlation.
things, yeah, it's hard. And I like to share things because otherwise you stay all the time in the same circle.
Yes,
You
but
need to share things.
what about the individual drone operator that want to be a professional? What would you advise him? Because as I told you, in the future it will not be enough for a guy to be an operator.
Yeah, yeah, that's it's almost like for your driving license. Many people think you can get, you buy your drone, you have to register it for free to get your license, your car
Yes,
license, your drone license, and you can go up, and they think you can go up the air right now, but the regulations know where you have to go. If the airspace, it's something very different, it's very strict. If the air, look at your local airspace regulations, or national, it's mostly national, but most people are not aware of it, that it exists. They think, oh, I can go now. It's I bought the drone of 500 euros and I go in the air by nothing. Then sim is so important.
and the public is unaware. I had, there are situations that I had taken off. I have my landing pad for my drone, and people were simply walking on the landing pad.
Oh
They're
yeah.
they're so
That's,
unaware of
and
the drone.
even if I fly for myself or for the newspaper, I always put those those fluo vests, so they immediately can see. Okay, he wants to be seen. He is. He looks like professional then because he has his vest. So I want to be seen that yes, I'm a pilot and I know what I'm doing. If you're, in the beginning, I just had my normal clothes and jacket, and I, hey, are you? Why are you flying? They come to ask you why you're doing, because they're maybe you're like criminals. They're also more and more starting to do things. But if you have your vest, nobody comes to you. They already see, oh, he
Which
has
is,
a vest. He wants to
yeah,
be seen as a pilot. He is a professional.
yeah, but then you can be a criminal with a vest. I mean, it's
Yeah, maybe, of course,
yeah,
there'll always be smart guys there, but for now on, I have no problems. If nobody came to ask me what are you doing, because they just see that I have the vest and I have the drone pilot. I can say that I'm from press or anything, but I don't have it in there. Um, that's one thing. Also, what was important, that the public, so normal public, the civilians in your city, they accept what you can do with a drone. There's still, yeah, they only think,
well,
oh, you are with a drone, you are a criminal, because you want to see how something looks like, how your garden looks like, so they can
yeah.
enter it.
So far, and you tell me what you think about this. I see the public either demonize the drones or disregard them at all. Either, that's what I see all the time from the public.
Yeah, and also with us, with firefighters and police, we haven't got great results doing, or resolve, no, not a great result, resolve something with the drone. And if it is, it has to be on the news more and more, and go more deeper inside, like look with what how drones can save the community and can save life. We haven't had this kind of great examples yet. So
Yes.
that's why it's still hard to integrate it, and to that the community feels safe that we are flying.
Okay, so back to DJ Avatar. So far, we have discussed that it can be used by firefighters, by SWAT, police for room clearance. We have discussed that it can be used under cars for searching for explosives and stuff like that?
Yeah. But I got already some
Okay.
questions about that. Yeah.
Real estate?
Yeah. I follow those guys also. I saw things. Real estates, I try it also, but again, you are with your sensors.
Yeah.
It can fool you. Avata main sensor or main camera is not great in low light.
Okay.
Some of them, they are now flying with Avata indoors for real estate with the GoPro on top.
Okay.
With the weight and everything, you can do some. I saw some great footage, yeah, with the GoPro on top of the Avata. But if you can do it with a cine move, it's you can do much better things. It's yeah. And then I'm in those Avata groups also, those public Avata groups where a lot of people doing real estates or try to do some freestyle with it, but without conversion to another bigger motors and bigger frame, you get those yaw
Yes.
crashes. But I saw some of them. Yeah, we were flying inside the house. Sun was shining inside, was shining to the floor. The floor gets very shiny. He comes with Avata and start crashing. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the problem with the vision sensors again. Read the fucking manual. It's there.
Well, most of the people, never read the manual. You
No,
didn't read it when you begin. I didn't read it, so yeah.
yeah, yeah. And there it says, watch out for shiny floors and everything. It needs to see contrast. Same with the camera, autofocus, how autofocus work from cameras. It needs to see contrast. It has to log on contrast. And that's also why I quickly understand how it works and yeah, how to deal with it.
Okay, I
It's
had a
very
friend. I have been discussing with some of my friends and colleagues about DJ Avatar and the various usages, and we have discussed, going under cars for explosives and stuff like that. And the question that the friend gave me was, okay, why not buying something cheaper like a remote operated car for things like that and buy an avatar? What are the advantages?
well. I think yeah, it's a good question. I don't know about how the range are going or obstacles, or how you say it,
Yes, obstacles.
between when
Yes,
you were driving something. Like
yes.
I don't know who asked. Oh, did you
So we
ask it?
were discussing why would a DJ avatar would be good for clearing under cars, searching for explosives under cars, and not some small remotely operated, vehicle with a GoPro on it. Why?
Yeah, of a rover, the tactical rovers. Actually, it's a good question. It's not easy for me to answer this because I don't have the experience with using a rover.
Okay.
How good is a rover? You have to, if I see for idea for like car clearance, safety distance. What's between you and the car? How is the floor of the ground? How can a rover going over there? Is there water between or is there a river between? And then it's easier to go with drone. So I don't know, because one disadvantage for the drone is dust. Of course, your propeller is under the car.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes.
So that's something people on the field has to can
To
tell
research,
this.
yes. Well, usually people are always looking for more cost-effective options.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so if
true.
your option costs this amount and a guy can come with an idea that will cost less, you understand how this goes. Anyway, personally, I am big on commercial drones because if you can, buy a commercial drone and use it instead of, an enterprise drone, for me, always go for the commercial drone because if you break it,
Yeah.
it's less of a cost.
Yeah, it's all about this now. That's how I started my old journey. Also, because on our fire department, we got to M300, uh, and that's it. No budget anymore. So a screen and anything to put things in, a spotlight. We really need a spotlight and everything. No budget, no budget. So you have to try to find your own solutions. And I know a lot of small departments have no budget, or they just buy something and that's it. But actually, you have a stupid drone. You can make it much smarter with through software and live stream options. No budget, no budget. So I have to try things do myself with teams, try to do this kind of things and hardware stuff, putting things together to stream by Teams because that's free, and that's how my whole journey started actually. Because there are a lot of departments has the same problem. We have something, but we have actually nothing. Or they are happy that they have something, otherwise they had nothing.
Yes.
This is how a lot of departments work at the moment, especially with drones and in the drone world.
Well, the good thing nowadays is that there are plenty of, commercial stuff you can use, free AI stuff, open source stuff.
Yeah. Like Stefan, with Stefan, he lives here in Brussels doing a lot of free thing. Now he's working with detecting people in with thermal cameras. At the moment, he just did it here on LinkedIn again, a new model you can use for free. It's amazing.
Yes.
The only thing is, of course, it can also be used by your enemy. Yeah, so it's
well,
always
usually criminals or the bad guys or whatever we want to call them, most of the time they are already one step ahead because they don't abide by rules and legalities and regulations. They just go out there and do things.
Yeah.
They're just trying to solve, what they see as a problem. They don't care about laws. But you are a law-abiding guy, and you need to, what you do to be by the book.
Yeah, by the book, and especially if you're in a government company, it has to be like that. And then he has to approve it. That one has to approve it. And you're 2 months or longer wait for your product to have, and otherwise, and then at the meantime, there is a new product was much better and upgraded.
And sometimes the criminals, they have a better budget than you.
Yeah.
For the state.
Yeah.
Okay. A few words before we close. A message you would like to send to the world, to drone operators, non-operators, anybody.
Well, it's important, of course, to read the fucking manual. That's where all started with, and then share with each other. Share.
Okay. How can we find you? What are your social media these days?
Yeah, for me, LinkedIn now. It's 24 hours, 7 days. I'm now with LinkedIn because all our professionals are all together.
So Tom Palmaers on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Instagram, but I don't do much over there anymore because it's all on LinkedIn because it's more professional. It's just more professional.
By far.
That's the way you have to be there and send me messages. I try to be always responding within a few minutes. Anything if I'm not doing other work, I'm always open to answer things. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an amazing thing. I like to share. Of course, like you with the IR, it was a little bit from okay, everybody wants to know it, but then I know, but if they're gonna do it, they're gonna make big money of it, and I'm sitting there again with as a little guy there. So that was the one thing.
You have to protect your interests and make.
Yeah. The future time, I would really like to switch over full time in this drone industry, and especially in first responders things.
Well, I hope that this podcast, will be beneficial for you. I hope that people will see it, and I hope that people will reach out to you. I have been amazed to see what you are doing, and it's been a real privilege and a real honor for you to be the first guest on this podcast.
Well, I'm honored too that I'm the first one.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an amazing journey for me also. Yeah.
Okay, that's all for today, folks. Thank you very much, Tom. It's early January 2024, so Happy New Year to anybody. And, life continues. People do the flying, don't forget that. It's not about the machines, it's about the people behind the machines. Bye for now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.